on this April 20th, 2022. If you'll all please stand and repeat the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll start off with approval of the minutes. Commissioners, we have one set of minutes from the April 6th, 2022 meeting. I saw no changes.
I have none either.
I didn't either. I'll make a motion that we approve the April 6th commission minutes.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Item number 2 on the agenda is Employee of the Month. Kellie Payne.
Thank you. Our Employee of the Month for April is Tiffany Marasco. She has been employed with the Children's Justice Center. Thank you. I was like, I can't remember what it's called. The CJC. She's been here since 2015, so I'm actually going to invite Tiffany and Shelly up to tell her why she's nominated. Here's that for you, too. Thank you. You're welcome.
Actually, I just nominated you just to embarrass you and get you up here in front of everybody because I know how much you love public engagements. The reason I nominated Tiffany is because when she started from 2015 to now, she has grown tremendously, not just as an employee, but as a person and in confidence in herself, especially when she engages with our families. Because I have seen the growth in her, I knew that she was going to be amazing at taking on the parent education curriculum that we have going on at the Family Support Center. She teaches the parenting classes, and she has done absolutely amazing. The parents are learning from her. She's engaging with the parents, and especially the parents who come to the class. They don't want to be there. Sometimes they're court ordered and they're not happy, but they leave. I feel like they leave with more knowledge than when they got there. And so I want to thank you, Tiffany, for all the hard work that you put in. You're very much deserving of this, and so congratulations. Thank you. Welcome.
Oh, just me by myself? Oh.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Item number 3 on the agenda is Super Service Award. Tina is not here. I believe Shani is going to present that.
Absolutely. I've never done this before, so this is my first, but I'll be Tina today. So the Super Service Award for April goes to Jordan Matson from Happiness Within and Helper. And whoever wrote this, I'm not quite sure, I apologize, says Jordan is so friendly and nice. She sets the tone for the day wherever she is working. I love how she promotes things around Helper and always makes my drink extra hot, just like I like it. Kudos to her, Cindy, and Danelle for always hiring the best at Happiness Within. So congratulations, Jordan. Will you join me up here? We have some things for her, so there you go. And you get a picture with me. Perfect. Okay? Not Tina, with me.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a great ambassador for our community.
If you'd like to say something, you can, not to put you on the spot.
Yeah, if you'd like to.
Well, I'd just like to say, of course, thank you guys for this. This is awesome. I think the reason that this is happening is because a really important thing that I live by is it's good for you to be happy to go to work, and it's another thing for your work to make you happy. And I live by that, and the people over at Happiness Within, they make that really easy to do. And so do just the customers, the tourists that I meet every day, my bosses, my coworkers, they're just awesome. And so they're a good representation of what that means and what that means to me. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4 is a retirement for Jean Madrid. This is one of those happy but also sad moments. We really like Jean and all the work that he's done. He's been with the county for a long time, 24 years. He's been a great employee. So we're happy for him. We're sad for us that we're losing a friend to retirement. So Kelly, if you'd like to come up, and Jean, Daniel, if you'd like to come up and say a few words.
So, like Casey said, we are a little happy and a little sad, or a lot sad. Jean, we want to present this plaque to you for retirement. Thank you for the last 24 years, some great friendships and
thank you so much.
Everything like that. I'm going to let Daniel say a few words to you.
So I've only worked with Jean for a year and a half, but the crew will attest for the other 22 and a half years that Jean is almost always the first man at the office, and has coffee ready for the rest of us when we get there. But he has a good attitude that has driven the friendships and the camaraderie at the road shop for all those years as well. On rough days, Jean's the first one in the trench, last one out. He's a hard worker, and he's been dedicated for all those years of service. We hope that he's as excited about his retirement as he has been about coming to work every day, and we hope he's as dedicated to that as he has been to us. So thanks, Jean.
Thank you.
Jean, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, I'd just like to say I'm going to miss the best bunch of guys I've had the pleasure of working with for a long time. These guys are fantastic to work with, and I'm going to miss them. So thank you.
Well, thank you for all that you've done.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jean. Thank you, Jean.
Well, that probably concludes most of the happy stuff that we have on our agenda. So if you'd like to, you're welcome to leave now. We'll give them just a minute to leave, and then we'll move on.
They were waiting for that cue.
All right, I think we're settled down enough. We could move on. Item number 5 on the agenda is review and possible approval of the 2022 Tourism Co-op Marketing Grant application. We have with us our Tourism Tax Advisory Board Chair, Mayor Peterman.
Good afternoon. So I'm going to try to frame these requests a little bit for the commissioners to be able to make a recommendation. So we started with a budget of $25,000 that was budgeted for this year for event funding. We received a total of 11 applications. 8 were for event funding and 3 for infrastructure, tourism infrastructure funding. Of those 11, 2 were rejected, 1 because it was incomplete and 1 because it did not qualify for the funding. So we're dealing with a total of 9 applications. 7 of the events, the board recommends funding for a total of $18,050. And then 2 of the infrastructure application, the board recommends funding for a total of $5,900. And the board recommended that to come from the reserve. However, you may want to use the funding as budgeted because altogether, both the infrastructure and event funding comes to a total of $23,950 versus tapping into the the reserve for the infrastructure funds. So the board recommended the $18,050 for events, the $5,900 from the reserve, but it is obviously your discretion.
Thank you for working through those applications. I know we tried a different process this year, something that I think will help us be more efficient in future years. It was a little bit of a learning curve this year, but it went well. One thing that I'm concerned about as we can't bank this money. This has to be used in the year that it's acquired. There's a small amount that we can bank. I have hesitations using any of the reserves and making sure that what we receive in this year's funding is used up for projects and or advertising. So that would be my recommendation, is that we move the $5,900 from reserves and pay it out of this year's revenue if we receive it. And if we don't, we could always take it out of reserves to fund those two projects, or two, yeah.
Yes, 2.
No questions, I agree with you.
Yeah, I do as well. Do we want to talk about the projects, or?
I'm happy to tell you what the board recommended by event. $25,000 to the Clash of the Coal Miners softball tournament. $14.50 to Helper Vibes for out-of-market marketing. $5,000 to the Pacific Southwest Regionals Babe Ruth tournament, which is a pay-to-play tournament in which they have to pay to get the tournament here. Castle Country Bash did not receive any funding due to an incomplete application. USUE Prehistoric Museum was designated for $5,000. The Woodhill Latrine Project was not awarded any funding due to it didn't qualify for tourism dollar funding. $2,100 was awarded to Price City for their Renaissance Festival for out-of-market efforts. $1,000 to the Desert Half Marathon for outside marketing efforts. The American Legion State Convention was awarded its full ask, which was $1,000. So those together combined are $18,050. The East Carbon Community Days and Welcome Sign, we elected to fund only the signage as tourism infrastructure. Their request had included in local marketing, which we did not allow. And then Helper City was designated for $5,000 for entryway pillars on both the Poplar and the exit 232 exits. So we'll get those dressed up and nice looking.
How much was it for the softball tournament, the first one?
$2,500.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
If there are no other comments, I'll go ahead and make a motion then that we approve the 2022 Tourism Co-op Marketing Grant application funding, and that we use the current year funds.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved.
Awesome.
Thank you for all your work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Item number 6, consideration of possible approval of an agreement with Jones and DeMille for culinary water study. Curtis or Commissioner Jensen, who wants to?
Both Curtis and Dan, why don't you come up and Curtis explain a little bit about what we're trying to accomplish here.
Okay. A few weeks ago, we came before you and requested authorization to receive to engage Jones and DeMille to provide to us a proposal that would evaluate capital improvements that might be necessary to be more appealing to industry that would come into the area. And they've prepared that scope of work with in their proposal, along with necessary fees. And so, I don't know, do you want to take a minute and talk about kind of some of the scope of what you're going to provide?
You bet. So I know it said culinary water study. That's one of the aspects of it, but some of the other elements in the study that we'd be looking at would be natural gas, power, sanitary sewer, and then roadways. On the roadways, looking particularly at areas where traffic flow could be improved, not necessarily the superstructure of the road or capacity of the road, but as much as where could we improve flow by linking roads together, things like that. And then some of the key areas to look at, there were several areas as we discussed with Curtis and Larry about it. Ridge Road being a primary area, PRT, Wildcat, and a few other areas that are highlighted in there. To really look at those areas, it's anticipated that's probably where a lot of the growth or development could potentially be. And then some of the goals to come out of the study would be to provide some cost estimates, look at the level of service, any deficiencies maybe or upgrades that might be needed to some of those facilities, and then put together a map and some information that the county can then use as going forward as these developers may come in and approach you for developing those areas.
Do you have anything to add?
I was just going to say, we are, at times are challenged to come up with all of the information that's requested from a potential developer or an industry that is looking to move to Utah, and we have the opportunity to turn in information to those folks of potential places that they could locate here in Carbon County. And so we need a better understanding of where we can grow with our water capacity, with the culinary water system and the sewer and these roads. So this is a bit of a high-level study that can dive a little deeper than what we have today, helping Price River Water Improvement District understand better what their capacities may be in different areas of the valley, and to make sure that if we encourage some development, it doesn't adversely affect another part of the county by taking water away that is going to now short everybody. So this is a critical study, and the intention is to use the ARPA funding that we received from the federal government for COVID, which in the beginning was earmarked for water and sewer uses, so it fits really close with the requirements that we originally received on those funds. So I think the only question really is we've got an opportunity here. They've put together this proposal, and we could either enter into a lump sum agreement with them, or we could hire them under our current contract for miscellaneous services that we have them do for us already. And we haven't really talked about that, Curtis nor Dan, but we could work our way through this rather than having a lump sum if we want to do that. So, any thoughts, Curtis, on your end?
No, it wouldn't really matter to me. I'm most interested in the scope of work and the outcomes that we would get, and how we get there isn't really critical for me. It might be for Dan. Either would work, I think.
They've offered both in this proposal. I think the part that maybe we could do is, as Curtis and Daniel Luke and Pride-Wide works with Jones and DeMille through this process and stays close, it may be that we could shorten some of the work that you've anticipated having to do, because we've kind of thrown this big picture out at you, but maybe it could be refined on our end of what we really need as we start through it. So I'm kind of leaning towards just having them work by the hour under our normal contract.
Yeah, and I think that's a wise move too. And so people understand too, there's a lot of things that we get requests for from the EDC Utah, GOED, the Governor's Office of Economic Development, for companies that want to move here. And a lot of the requests are how much water is available, how much gas requirement, what the power needs are. And it's pretty amazing that we can't get that information in detail. As we'll talk about some of the housing developments, you know, there are water shares that are needed to start building houses. And if we don't know how many water shares are out there, or we don't have them, then that defeats us even looking at subdivision and growth. So I think this study is pretty important. We can work out the details on as I think it'd be wise just to use the agreement that we have in place and get this study, get this information, and we'll be better suited to plan for the future and the growth that's coming.
One comment that I had, as you talk about the requests that come in and the information that they want, oftentimes it's a very short turnaround. They want that information within a certain window, and it's a lot of work and sometimes almost impossible to get the information that they really want in the time frame that they want it in. So if we had a resource to turn to and say, well, here in this location we have these things, here's what you would have to do to finish, you know, your capital improvements, and then we can put together a complete package that they could then evaluate our resources and our availability for their particular business. So be very helpful.
I might mention too that since 9/11, utility companies they don't want anybody to know what they have and where it is because of security reasons. And so this study really is somewhat of an in-house thing that's not necessarily going to be public, because there may be things in there that the gas company or Price River Water Improvement District, they really are not at liberty to put that information out because of the security concerns. So this probably is not a study that would be available to the public.
Yeah.
But it does give us information we need. And the short turnaround, Curtis, that you've mentioned, most of the time it's 7 days. So we are notified of a potential business looking for a place to open, and we have to have this turned into them within 7 days.
That's not much time.
No. So, I think we're ready for a motion?
Just a question real quick. Do we want to approve this in front of us here, or do we want to just work with the current agreement?
I think I'd like to make the motion that we hire them under our current contract to perform the work for us under the direction of Curtis, and kind of walk and work through this as we go in an attempt to try to make sure we don't do study that we don't really need. And I might make mention too, part of the reason that we've hired Jones and DeMille is because they already have done a lot of work in Carbon County with water and sewer, and they have a lot of information already in hand that if we hired another company, they would have to duplicate. So that's why Price River Water Improvement District, who this work kind of is focused at doing, they're anxious to have Jones and DeMille perform this study.
I'll entertain a motion then.
Okay, I'll make the motion. We hire Jones and DeMille Engineering to perform this water and infrastructure study for Carbon County using our annual contract that we've already have in place.
We have a motion?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Item number 7, consideration and possible adoption of Ordinance 557 to change the Carbon County zoning district map from R1 8,000 to R-1 -20,000 on parcel 2-1074 located west of Price for Robert Torgerson. Todd, do you want to come up and explain what's going on here?
So this zone change request is the last section in Westwood for Bob Torgerson. It's just north of the canal. So currently it's zone R1 8,000. Like you said, the zone request is for R1 20,000. When we met at Planning Commission, and they gave a negative recommendation for it. From my perspective, the neighborhood in that area has been developed in curb gutter and sidewalk, and so to change into open ditches was something that was inconsistent with what was being developed. So we've had some other discussions with Bob on that, and I don't know if
We're actually withdrawing. Is number 7 the north?
yes, yeah, it's the north section.
That one you want to withdraw.
Okay, so Don and Bob would like to withdraw that instead of moving forward with it. Don, do you want to?
I don't think there's much for me to say.
So do we need a motion on that, or the withdrawal just? Okay. We'll move on to item number 8 then, consideration and possible adoption of Ordinance 558, a change to the Carbon County zoning district map from RR-1 acre to R-1-20,000 on parcel 2-1074-1 located west of Price for Robert Torgerson.
So this one is south of the canal. It's in between the canal and the Model RC Airport. So it's currently 1 acre. When we put in the soccer fields, when we built the soccer field, they extended a sewer line from Ranch Road, bored under the canal, and then ran it through. So this property now has access to sewer, and so they're requesting to do a half-acre lots in that area. From my perspective, with the canal separating the two developments, to have, open drainage and have the ditches would be okay, because it's a separate development. They're not contiguous, and they have access to sewer, so they'd be able to do the smaller lots if that's what they choose to do.
Go ahead. On this development, would the access road be fairgrounds, or would they connect across the canal back to Ranch?
So right now, what would be from Fairgrounds Road. Okay. So they don't have any proposals to connect Ranch Road. Okay. I know internally there's been some discussion, but they would like to have the access off of Fairgrounds Road.
Okay. That was going to be my question as well. Yep. From what's currently on the ground, it looks like as if the road were to go where the sewer crossed as well, but that was going to be my question, so thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Great minds think alike, huh?
Must be.
No questions. I'm ready to make a motion if no questions.
So your recommendation was that this was okay. What was the planning and zoning?
Yep, planning and zoning was okay with changing this one to the 20,000 square foot lots. Okay. They were positive on that one.
So it was a positive recommendation as well?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'll make the motion that we adopt Ordinance 558, a change to the Carbon County zoning district map from RR1 to R1-20,000 on parcel 2-1074-1 located west of Price for Robert Torgerson.
We have a motion?
And I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Item number 9, consideration and possible approval of Bureau of Land Management 2022 Noxious Weed contract with Carbon County. Commissioners, I'm not sure who's going to take this one, but this is an annual contract that we have with Bureau of Land Management. We do some cooperative spraying with them and roadside spraying of noxious weeds on BLM. They pay us some money to do that. Do you have anything else to add?
Nothing more. Nope. That's what it is. We do it every year.
Okay.
If there's nothing else, I'll go ahead and make a motion then that we approve the Bureau of Land Management 2022 Noxious Weed contract with Carbon County.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Item number 10, consideration of possible approval of the 2022 continued property tax exemptions. Seth?
Each year we update our list of tax-exempt parcels or properties. These consist mainly of nonprofits, but mainly church properties. There's some Four Corners and other type of properties in there, but this is our current list. There's been no major changes from last year, except for I think the college had one that they took off of the list that they were renting out. So I don't have any big changes this year.
Museums and different things as well are on there. So, any questions, any concerns with any of the properties?
I have none.
I don't
Me
either.
neither.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2022 continued property tax exemptions.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Item number 11, consideration of possible approval of Carbon County credit cards for Jeremy Robinson with the Maintenance Department and Shani Wilson, the Economic Development and Tourism Director. Just a little explanation. Jeremy is with our Maintenance Department, and oftentimes there are just small items that he needs to purchase. Most of the businesses in our community we have a purchase account with, and he's able to just charge that through the system, but there are a handful that do not. And so this will allow him to work a little freer to be able to continue to do the maintenance. And then Shani is a department head, and then all of our department heads have a card for use. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the Carbon County credit cards for Jeremy Robinson with the Maintenance Department and Shani Wilson with Economic Development and Tourism Director.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved.
Move to adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you.